did another feature length.
What was that one about?
Still working on it. I have a 62-minute cut that I showed at some colleges a few years back.
Yeah.
It's on a subway performer and who quit his job to play music in the subway full time. And this other guy, Bullet, he's like this crazy rapper rocker.
Okay.
Who I don't know. It's about them, how they're pursuing life and pursuing their music in two different ways, and I cut between the two characters.
Okay.
So it's like a parallel story.
Oh, cool.
So, so I had a 62-minute cut that I showed, and now Chris moved down to Asheville, and he formed a band down there, so now he's making a living in music, which was his dream. So he went from the subway to making all these records, and now he has a band that he's touring with.
Wow.
And then Bullet got hit by a car, so he's on disability, and he also has a 16-month-old daughter. So I'm thinking about revisiting the project.
It's like a third act almost.
As a third act, and I'm trying to do a Kickstarter for that.
You should. Yeah, it's great. What's the title of that project?
It's called Faster Than a Fax Machine.
Okay. So that's great. Let's go back to this one. Who's got questions or comments? What if you, Tony, will start.
Question I got is, I like the split screen. I like where you had the close image and the relaxed atmosphere. I assume it was in their individual homes?
Yeah.
Okay. And what I did like also is the children. Did you record that with live children today? And how did you do that?
I actually recorded a long time ago. Those kids aren't kids anymore.
No.
But anyways, I had a Marantz at the time, recorder, and I had a Sennheiser microphone, and I got all these kids outside my window, and I got them to play games and sing and whatever, and I recorded it all, and eventually I put it onto CD, and then when I was cutting this movie together, I'm like, I'm going to use that somehow. It
was from afar, which I think actually made it. If it was recorded in a studio, you wouldn't have that same effect, because I could hear that little.
Well, plus they just did whatever. I'm like, sing some songs, do whatever, and they were natural. If I had a microphone in their face, they just would have been all goofy and you know how kids are, you know. So sometimes you have to be sneaky when you're a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Especially when you're working with kids. Kids are very difficult to work with.
Yeah,
I found it a lot more enjoyable than how enjoyable I thought it was going to be at the beginning. It was nice to hear like elderly people speaking in short chunks like that. That's it.
You like the editing?
It's called editing. Yeah.
How did you find these ladies?
They lived in my complex. I think it was like every Tuesday or something, they'd play cards together. And they just seemed interesting to me, so I befriended them, and I started talking to them. And someone that worked at the clubhouse said, they always tell stories, and they have real strong opinions. And that's what drew me to them, because anything I asked them, they had opinions, especially Mary, the one that said about divorce. Yeah, you're going to be dressed in black. Mary's hysterical. Mary's really funny.
She's sharp.
Yeah.
Very sharp.
You actually have questions for him? You just let him go off?
Oh, no. Basically when I worked I wouldn't have got anything, No, what I do is even with my other documentary, I prepare questions that I think, I'll run it by my friends, and I'll run a bunch of questions and hit them up with it. That becomes like my script.
Right.
The questions become my script, because if you work for PBS or some of these other stations, you'd have to actually know where the thing's going. Everything had to be, but I like to be a little more organic the way I work.
Who else has got a question or a comment?
You ever think about doing the same type of thing, but interview men instead of the women like you did this time?
I happen to know them.
Right.
So I had this personal connection with them. So it had nothing to do with, men or women. I just found these women, and they're strong women.
Mm.
You know, so I wanted to have this piece, even though I'm a guy, I wanted to have this perspective from a woman's point of view. You know, so that's what drew me to it.
Yeah, they were great.
Have these ladies actually seen this?
Yeah, they all
What did they
saw it.
think?
They liked it. I mean, two of them aren't
It's
living there
wonderful.
anymore. They're both. Two of them are in an old age home, Mary and what's her name? One of the other women are now in a home. Only two of them still live at the complex. And Dorothy, who's the one in the pink, was talking about going to movies as a kid, the 10 cents.
Yes.
She's now 101.
Wow.
So I shot some new stuff with her at her 100th birthday party, and I shot a second interview with them, 3 of them. The other one, she was having hearing problems and whatnot, tinnitus, and she didn't want to be interviewed anymore. So I was thinking of turning it into a feature, but I just kind of got away from it.
Did
I've
they
been doing
get
other
a
projects.
kick out of this, seeing themselves on
They-
the screen?
They liked it, yeah. Well, Dorothy's kind of hard of hearing, so she was like, "What? What did they say?" You know, you had to kind of tell her what was going on.
Yeah,
I think we played it a couple of times at the screening,
it's nice.
Yeah.
It was really
but
fun.
they liked it. Yeah.
On some of your scenes where you're showing the old telephones, I assume there was some file footage, but did
No,
you
I
prop
shot
every?
all that.
You propped all the scenes,
I
the telephone, and
I shot it all.
that's great. Where did you get the pieces from? Their house?
Well, no. I had shot a 1930s homage to 1930s gangster films,
Okay.
which is on my my YouTube channel, AG Cool Films. It's Cool Films with a K. So I had those props. So I had some of that footage from that movie.
Okay.
I just stole the car going by, the telephone. I had it. So I basically used my own found footage from my projects and utilized it for this. And the girl with the hula hoop and that was just family footage that I had, you know, that I used as B-roll.
So you just couldn't convince them to get into the zombie makeup?
The zombie makeup?
I'm just so glad I didn't see another zombie film, that's all.
Oh, right. Well, they
It
probably,
was a joke.
maybe Dottie would have done it. Mary, maybe, yeah, she's funny.
More comments, thoughts? I thought it was great. I mean, what I really was riveted by was one little thing was the ladies. So we used to make our own clothes.
Yeah.
Like, that's just mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
That people would sew and create their own clothes. Wow.
Yeah, she had the
Time-
pants and everything that she I'm like, Dottie, did you make? Oh yeah, I made that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cook your own food from scratch? In season?
I can't fathom this.
Well, they didn't have those options.
Yeah, I know. It's
When
just,
she said prepared food, there wasn't such a thing.
yeah, the fast was that the 50s with the TV dinners.
Yeah.
But another thing happened of myself in the era. If you look at a lot of these houses, 3-decker houses, every third one you'll notice was a store. They didn't have large stores, so what they did, they didn't have refrigeration. They would buy the meats fresh from their local neighborhood, and they'd have to cook it off right away.
Wow.
So it wasn't prepared. With the advent of the large supermarkets, closed the mom and pop small stores.
Also, in the second interviews that I did with them, they were talking about the Iceman. Used to
I
come
was
to
just
the-
Yes.
thinking that. I grew up,
You know, like they didn't have a refrigerator we plug in. They had a box.
yep,
Ice a
And they had
box.
to bring ice, and where they got the ice from in the wintertime. They used to cut it up, drag it out by horses, and then store it in an ice house.
With sawdust.
Yeah. And then they just take off chunks, and the iceman would come and deliver them ice and cold. You know?
I noticed one thing. The ladies didn't go into politics too much. I mean, like political, social commentary, like about the wearing the black for the wedding, but they didn't really talk about politics. Was that a choice?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean,
Yeah.
I just kind of came up with a list of questions that I thought were pertinent,
Yeah.
and I knew I was making a short film. I didn't want to. How many subjects can you touch upon?
Sure.
You know, and I don't know, politics.
Didn't really do it for you.
No, I didn't need to get into that.
Okay.
You know?
Really refreshing not to go there.
Yeah, I didn't want
It was really good.
And they had a lot of interesting things to say,
Oh, hell yeah.
regardless about
They were
the
enthralling.
lives. I mean, the man on the moon. I mean,
Yep.
we take all this stuff for granted. That all this history happened, but to have it come from, I was there. We went down the street to someone's house to watch a TV. You know, I think.
Well, one was born before the Wright brothers. One was born right after the Wright brothers. Then two were born in the 20s. So they probably remember Lindbergh quite well. That was a big deal
Right.
when Lindbergh flew. Oh, actually flew right over
Well,
Providence.
there was no commercial
It was nothing. Yeah,
airplanes.
But-
People didn't fly commercially yet.
yeah.
Any more questions or thoughts? One of them.
It was fun.
Great. I love the
It was
topic.
really fun.
Very interesting. Yeah, good job on that.
Thank you.
Everyone liked it. It was great.